Hey guys, James with Torches and Tactical, and today our friends over at Hosonic, they sent us a new light. Now this is the EC12, and this is their long-range thrower. Still very pocketable, so you're not dealing with like a Woobin A1 or anything like that, but 1500 lumens and a total of 280 meters of throw. It also does have a high mode of 1130 lumens, a medium of 812 lumens, low of 216, and eco of 35 lumens. Now that 35 lumens will run for a total of 55 hours, and that is a SFT40 behind a huge TIR optic. Now, if just the top end of this looks a little bit familiar, if you look up in that corner, we do have a little bit of a comparison for you. We are going to compare it later to the Workhos TS12, so stay tuned for that. But in addition to that turbo, high, medium, low, and eco, it does also have a strobe and an SOS function. Not only that, it does give you a memory mode as well. So when you have it set to something and then shut it off, it will go back to what you had it on. We will discuss that more in the memory function later in the user interface a little bit later on. So it is drop resistant rated to 1 meter, water resistant rated at IP68. It comes in at 121 grams with that battery, and total dimensions are 117 meters in length, 42 millimeters at the head, and the battery tube comes in at 21 millimeters. Now, I will go ahead and run through just real fast everything that comes in the package. As far as the box goes, I'm going to try to open this up. However, since there's nothing in it, it is a little bit light. I kind of like this design of box. However, again, if it's open, if it's empty, it is kind of difficult to get stuff out of it. So you have really dense foam. There is that battery isolator that comes from the factory. A little bit of silica gel just to make sure things are nice and fresh. Then you have a picture of your EC12 up here. Lets you know 1500 lumens. On the side, just a few of those specifications. On the other side, a little bit of your governmental signage. And then on the back, oh, there we go. On the back, more of those specs, 280 meters SFT40, Type-C charging, 121 grams, and then all those run times, which I will show you right there. Boom. So go ahead and save this or pause it right now if you want to go ahead and take a look at that. But with this aside, you do also get the manual, which basically explains everything that you just saw on the back of that box, as well as how to use the light. So we'll get that out of the way. Comes with a couple spare O-rings, just in case you end up swapping out that battery enough, and the O-rings get a little bit worse for the wear. You do get a USB-A to USB-C cable because, again, onboard USB-C charging, as well as it's a step above a pretty generic lanyard. It's a relatively generic lanyard. I like the feel of it. It does have a round core, so it's nice and comfortable on your hand. There's a little bit of stretch to it. The lanyard feature actually works great, and it does tension as well. So pretty good for a brand such as Hosonic. Now, if we're getting into the actual light, I do gotta say that there have been a lot of larger TIR throwers coming out recently. So this form factor, or rather at least the bezel and head, may be a little familiar. So here we go, let's go. I'm gonna bring this up so you can take a look at it. Now, one thing you may notice is that very distinct drop right there, right in the middle of the bezel. There's no glass lens above it or anything like that. However, there's literally a hole drilled in all the way going all the way down to that diffuser section of the TIR optic, right next to that SFT40. That's going to help direct that light, and the TIR optic, given its angle, it will push all the light forward instead of trying to bleed it out. And those are manufactured or compatible or configurable to how they want that beam to show up. So again, SFT40 behind there, that large deep reflector. Then you have a bit of there's some depth here to this bezel, making sure that you don't actually make contact with that plastic lens. I would have still preferred to see a little bit of glass lens up front. When we step down, pretty familiar design here, a large, very large metal button. I mean, I guess in conjunction to the actual shape or size of the light, it's not that large. However, very easy to identify, and it is 180 degrees away from that USB-C charging port. Let me get that open so you can see that. Boom. And this is a pretty thin flap. It doesn't push in very far, but it still seems quite sturdy. So this gets the Torches and Tactical seal of approval on that USB-C port. We step down. Now there is a little bit of machining here. Comes around, looks like some flats as well as almost some rifling. And then it steps down to, in my opinion, probably one of the most familiar traits of Hosonic. Now they have this grenade or frag style knurling on the battery tube as well as the tail cap. And if you remember any of the other videos, now if you don't, go ahead and take a look at them after we're done with this. But Hosonic is very commonly using this frag or grenade style. I think it looks great. I definitely think that it provides a lot of grip. So I'm very, very much okay with it. You have the Hosonic logo here. It is a little bit off-centered top to bottom. So if you notice that, I don't know if that was unintentional or what, but then you also have your governmental signage on the back of the light right here. Then there is a step immediately behind that where this pocket clip sits. It's not a two-way pocket clip, but I mean, it's a pretty heavy light, so you're not going to want to wear this on your baseball cap or anything anyways. It does have a little hole here that will help, or that will give you another spot for your lanyard if you so choose, but pretty good spring retention. If you choose to use this or wear this in your pocket, it does have a decent throat, so it will mainly hide in there. Moving to the battery, or the tail cap rather, moving to the tail cap, that same knurling again, you do see a provision right here for the lanyard, and then it is flat on the back. And we're going to experience this together. Do you think it has a magnet in that tail cap? Go ahead and lock in yes or no in the comments down below, and I will grab this knife. So tell me what you think. Do you think it has a magnet? Do you think it doesn't have a magnet? Let's go ahead and check. Okay, boom, it does have a magnet. Now it is pretty light, or rather it is a pretty heavy light. So it is falling down off this blade, but there is a lot of magnetic adhesion, and if it weren't, if there weren't such a deep grind in this blade, I think it would stick much better. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way and open up that tail cap. So opening up that tail cap, we can see there are some anodized threads with that O-ring, very well oiled. Probably gonna make a mess now. And if we look inside the tail cap, there's a pretty strong, it's a tall nickel-plated spring, but it does feel a little bit loose in there, and it feels like that's all that's holding in that magnet. I don't know if you can see it wiggling down there, but it does feel like that's what's holding in the magnet. So we can also get out the Hosonic 3000 milliamp hour rechargeable 18650. You can pop this in a standalone charger or charge it directly from the USB-C charging port. And then you can see the gold post in there for that positive terminal. And on the outside, you can see that gold ring. This is going to give you some reverse polarity protection if you happen to pop that battery in backwards. So very, very nice touch. We will get this back in. And then I want to walk through that user interface with you. So as far as the user interface goes, pretty simple. While it's off, you can simply click it one time for on, or you can press and hold for off. And while it is on, actually here, let me go ahead and cycle through to a low mode. When it's on, you can just click one time to go between your eco, low, medium, and high. So here we have eco, 35 lumens, low, 216 lumens, medium, 812, and high, 1130 lumens. Now, if you want to access that 1500 lumens, all you got to do is give it a quick double press. That will go all 1500 lumens, and I'm feeling quite a bit of warmth from that. The SFT40 shining pretty bright. And then if you want to access that strobe and SOS like I told you it had, you can give 3 clicks, 1, 2, 3. There we go. We do have a strobe right here. And then if you press one time from here, it will give you that SOS mode. Now SOS, this one is pretty slow paced. So that's one thing to keep in mind. If it stays off for a while, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's off. It could just mean that it's in between the SOS iterations. So there is a bit of a pause in between there. But let's go ahead and press and hold and shut this off one more time. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is that charging. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a USB-C cord that I have offhand. There we go. There's that USB-C cord. And I'm going to go ahead and grab a power bank as well, because I want to show you guys how the charging works on this. So all we'll do is flip open that cover, pop it in there, and immediately you get a red light here. There we go. There's that red light. Hopefully you can see that. It is flashing. Hold on, I'm going to try to, there we go. There's that red light. And that red light will turn blue as soon as it's fully charged. And it is roughly a 3-hour charge. Now, I don't know if it's going to appear right now, but the battery was topped off prior to filming, just so I know that it's good to go. No, okay, it doesn't look like the blue is going to appear right now. But in addition to a charging indicator, you do also have inside this switch a battery capacity indicator. So if this is blue, that means you're at 30% or more battery capacity left. If it's red, you're between 10 and 30%. And if it's flashing red, then you're less than 10% left on that battery. So either get to a USB-C charger or swap out for another cell. So now that we've gone through the user interface, talked about the charging, talked about all of the different specifications and capabilities of this light, I want to go ahead and show you guys exactly what this can do. So we are going to compare this to the Workos TS11. Now, Workos TS11 by a lot of people has been hailed as hugely mighty for its size. It is 2,000 lumens, also an SFT40, but this will shine out to over 600 meters. And I know it's quite a bit different as far as specifications go, but I just want to give you guys a feel for what 2,000 lumens, Anduril 2, all the RGBs and stuff like that. I want to give you guys a feel for what that looks like outside and then directly compare it to the Hosonic EC12. So again, EC12 1500 lumens, 280 meters of throw. So let's get outside so you guys can see exactly what it looks like. All right, guys, tonight we are out with the Hosonic EC12 and we're going to do that quick comparison to the Workos TS11. So let's just get straight into it. I'm going to go ahead and long press, turn this on. Now this is low. Press once, medium, press again, high. And now we are at all 1500 lumens from the Hosonic EC12. Don't mind the cats. And long press to shut it off. And if you can't tell from that very familiar glow, now we are going to do the Workos TS11. So I'm just going to go straight to turbo with a quick double tap. Now this is 2000 lumens from the Workos TS11. Pretty good hotspot if I do say so myself. And one more time, just real fast, I'm going to long press the Hosonic EC12, 1500 lumens, but very, very usable spill. So you get that hotspot, but still very usable as far as spill goes. Long press to shut it off, and the Workos TS11 one more time. There you go. SFT40, 2000 lumens. All right, and now that we have seen the Hosonic EC12 and the Workos TS11 go neck and neck, let's get back inside. All right, guys, we went outside and we compared the Hosonic EC12 versus the Workos TS11. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, the TS11 does have a marginally ever so slightly larger, or at least to me it looks like ever so slightly larger reflector. It does have a larger center point. And what that does, at least in terms of how it's operating the SFT40 in the EC12 versus the TS11. Now, if you can see here, that's a pretty distinct hotspot. And then if we compare it to the EC12, that's a much wider hotspot. Now, as far as spill goes, I'm going to go ahead and say that I think the EC12 has the TS11 beat. Overall hotspot, getting that really, really tight spot and getting that throw, I think the TS11 has it beat. But as far as usable spill, I really did like how the EC12 operated and functioned. So tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you like the really tight hotspot, or do you like a little bit more usable spill? Here, let's go ahead and turn them about the same. There we go. You want a little bit more usable spill, or do you want a little bit tighter hotspot from the TS11? So guys, again, tell me down in the comments below what you thought. As far as the operation goes, frankly, I think the only thing I'm not really that big of a fan of is I think they probably could have put a different style reflector and gotten a little more throw, But other than that, I think the only thing I'm not a fan of is the fact that there's that hole right in the center of the lens. It's not uncommon for my lights to get into the mud. It's not uncommon for me to drop them, and I don't want to either chip that TIR or that would just bring huge artifacts into the light pattern, or I don't want to get mud in there and not be able to get it back out. So if they could fix that, and then frankly, I think that's it. I really do like the light. If they could fix that, I think this would be a really, really nice pocket thrower. It is bigger, it doesn't shine as far, but I think it gives really, really usable light. So guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. I really, truly appreciate it. If you would like this video, share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel. And click on that bell notification so you guys find out when we're going to do a giveaway and when our next review is live. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next one.